Let's do this. Okay. Hi guys, my name is Lyndon. I'm a software developer, hobby wedding videographer, and Lumix enthusiast. Lumix user, Lumix fanboy? Alright, it's come to my attention that the S1RII may have possible build or software issues relating to thermal management. Let's talk about it. All of the initial reviews and previews and promotional stuff are pretty much done. It's been about, what, a month since the release and 2 months since the embargo's lifted. Consensus is pretty good all around for the camera. A lot of the bigger YouTubers, like bigger to me anyway, who shoot both long form and short form videos, cinematic to like run and gun or whatever, have switched. Like a lot of people are using the S1RII as their primary run and gun cameras. No one is really running into UHD or DCI 4K thermal problems, overheating. No one's really running into it. Zach Mayfield, oh man, his buddy, I can't remember his name, but Armando, huge fan of his work. Like he switched to it as his primary run and gun like Cinecam. And these are YouTubers who I believe anyway, that they're not like true shills, like real shills. You know, obviously they do stuff for money, but like they wouldn't switch to a camera as like their primary cameras and then put it out there that they're using it if there were thermal issues, regardless of like how they were shooting. If they're running into overheating problems, they would not be using it. I believe that. But two other like YouTubers that I watch, well, one YouTuber and like another dude is like me who just puts videos up on YouTube. He's not really a YouTuber, but Geeky Nerdy Techie is, I mean, he's relatively big, longer form videos, talks about tech, cameras, lenses, whatever. He tested the S1RII. He was going to use it as his like primary camera, and he does longer form recordings, and then he cuts them up for YouTube. He runs into overheating and thermal issues both in studio and outside, and his times are inconsistent in UHD and DCI 4K 24 FPS. He's running into problems. Also, Patrick Ramdial, who I say is like me, but like he's a professional videographer, filmmaker, cinematographer, whatever you want to call him. A smaller scale. He shoots promo stuff, social media stuff, and weddings. I found him a couple years ago because he shoots on the S1RII and he puts his wedding videos up, so I checked them out and they're really good. I think they're great. And he put up a video talking about how he picked up the S1RII, shot a social media fitness influencer shoot, and it ran into overheating issues. Now the use cases are a little different because Patrick was shooting for kind of like how weddings, you shoot B-roll for like preps and stuff and getting ready or whatever, and your camera's on typically. You could turn it on and off if you wanted, but your camera's on typically, and you hit record for 20, maybe 30 seconds, and you stop. And then you find something else to shoot, and you hit record again for another 10, 15 seconds maybe, then you stop. Patrick ran into thermal issues about an hour into shooting like that. So here we got like 3 cases, 3 scenarios, bunch of YouTubers who have not run into any issues, who have switched to the camera as their primary camera, who I believe would not have switched if they ran into thermal problems. And then you have a long form shooter running into thermal issues, and then a short form shooter running into, I say short form, I don't really short form, but like someone who's not doing long takes, running into thermal problems. And that's kind of weird. To add another layer onto that, Lumix isn't really known for having thermal problems. So the original S1 and S1R, I don't know if those had thermal issues. Those might have had 29-minute record limits. The S1H did not have record limits and also did not have any thermal problems. GH6, GH7, GH5, no thermal problems. The S5 Mark I, special case. Man, I don't have proof. This is anecdotal, but I'm pretty sure the S5 Mark I's 29-minute record limit on the 4K 10-bit modes was put in place because they knew it would overheat if they allowed it to go longer. But you were able to manage it by turning it off for a second or whatever after the 29 minutes and then just hitting record again and letting it go for another 29 minutes. I think Gerald Undone did a test on that. I can't remember, but either way, that was one of the ways that Lumix handled the potential overheating issue of the S5 Mark I. Slapped the limit on, and you know it's definitely gonna run to that 29 minutes, you hit stop, hit record again, and you can go again. That's one way they handle it. But okay, back to the S1RII. So as dumb as it is to say, there's three possible things happening here. One is we've got a bunch of this Lumix cabal YouTuber cult going on, where even though this thing's overheating, they're deep in Lumix pockets and just not talking about it, making videos about switching, which I don't think is the case. It makes no sense that none of these guys have ran into any heat problems shooting in 4K, and I doubt they're all shooting in full HD. They got to be shooting in at least 4K modes. And then there's, to answer the fact that like these other shooters who potentially might not be in Lumix pockets running into these problems, you've got potential build quality control issues with the S1RII. You know, maybe heatsink, maybe fan quality control issues, maybe a temperature sensor readout control issues. You know, maybe it could be reading incorrectly where it's saying it's overheating, but it's really not, and you know, shutting off the camera prematurely when it potentially could run for longer. Third option could be firmware, could be software issues. You know, maybe some of these guys were sent the camera early, maybe beta firmware or like an earlier firmware version that these other guys who got it at retail might not have, or you know, one's more strict than the other, or vice versa, something like that. Either way, it doesn't make sense. I should also mention, like, the long takes, while those do bother me, if I was going to be buying these cameras, while that does bother me, Patrick's case of shooting for short bursts within an hour time span of having the camera on worries me more than the longer takes, right? Because like, let's say if I had, I'm not going to buy it, it's not for me, but if I had the S1RII and if it was my primary camera, it's on me. It's on me, and I'm shooting short A-roll or short B-roll shots with this thing, on and off, and the S5 Mark IIs or a 2X or whatever would be my locked off long form A-roll running for speeches and ceremonies. So I know those are bulletproof, those will stay running. Shoot, I had these guys, I talked about it before, but like I had these S5 IIs and S5 2X running in like 35 degree weather Celsius, in direct sunlight, super humid, hottest day of the year the year before last year. Oh shoot, when was that wedding? 2023 or 2024? Either way, hottest day of the year, and the camera survived. So I know those guys were, the S5 IIs are tanks. Yeah, if I had the S1RII, that's the main camera where I'm, you know, hitting record on and off. I would expect the battery or the memory card to fill up before ever overheating. So that's why it worries me. Yeah, I just thought I'd make a short video. Oh shoot, how much time do I got? Yo, you guys remember the Canon R5? This sounds similar. It's similar, it's not exactly the same, but to the initial launch of the R5 4 or 5 years ago, whatever. Canon marketing put out this 8K camera, you know, marketing campaign, shooting raw, gave it to a bunch of YouTubers, and lo and behold, only a very small few YouTubers doing reviews at the time said like, you know, this camera's like great. You know, it's not perfect, but it's fantastic for what it is. And then you had everyone else who picked up the camera after talking about how this thing would overheat and that the recovery time was crazy and you couldn't shoot like a full day for a wedding with the R5, which was nuts. And then you had, oh man, I'm ranting now, but then you had Ray Roman. Now, if you're in the wedding video space, Ray Roman's legend, living legend, but I remember when this thing launched and everyone was talking about how like the camera was overheating. He bought two. He posted another anecdotal story here, but he posted an Instagram story, a B&H box with like 2 Canon R5s in it, and he said, I don't know, he said something quirky about like, we'll deal with the thermal issues or deal with the overheating, and he was putting out, you know, little shorts, little snippets of weddings he was shooting with the R5. Again, somebody who you would not think, like he's not sponsored, clearly not sponsored by Canon, but like somebody who you would not think would put up with any overheating issues, right? The man charges $20,000, $30,000 US for a wedding video package. He's not going to deal with any overheating issues. What's even crazier than that is like a month or two later, posted another similar reel of another R5 that he picked up. So this man bought another R5 to pair up with his first set of R5s, shooting weddings with a camera that is overheating for everyone else. That also, now conspiracy, tinfoil hats on. Everyone with the R5, everyone testing out the R5 didn't want to shoot with the binned or line skipped 4K mode, which does not overheat. the time limit on that, and on the initial firmware anyway, did not overheat. So you only ran into those time limits when you use the like 8K or 6K or 4K HQ modes, full sensor readout. So that means, I mean, I'm just assuming, but like, that means that Ray was shooting these $30,000, $20,000 wedding videos on the line skipped or bin 4K bin modes. That's even crazy, right? Because like YouTubers, like you would never, it's blasphemy to shoot in a line skipped or pixel bin mode. They would never be caught dead. YouTubers with 200,000 subscribers, million subscribers would never be caught dead doing that. But you got a dude who's like shooting for like literal millionaires and like oil tycoons and celebrities weddings with these. But I don't know if he's truly doing that. But how else was this dude with the initial firmware getting around the Canon R5 overheating issues? I'll never know. He'll never see this video. I'll never be able to talk to him. So, but that's just, I had to add that in. Not exactly like the S1RII, totally different issue, but it is similar. You know, hybrid camera, high megapixel, can shoot incredible video modes, but I got reports of thermal issues, thermal problems. Okay, that's the video. I'm so sorry. If you watched all the way to the end, thank you. Let me know your thoughts. Yeah, I don't know who's watching these videos. You know, I know I'm nobody. I want to see like I'm like you, right? I'm not gonna buy the camera. I might. I'm not going to. And it's just really interesting, you know, because I look up to a lot of these YouTubers. Like, it's cool when I hear that they're switching, you know, to bodies or whatever, different brands. It doesn't matter if it's Lumix. Like if Armando switched to, you know, Nikon, that'd be cool too. Like White and Reverie, they switched to Nikon, and it's just cool to hear their thoughts on that. So when I hear someone switching, but I hear someone else talking about how bad something is, a feature or whatever, and then it makes me think like, well, why the hell would they do that? So let me know your thoughts on the S1RII. If you've seen the other videos of the overheating versus like the YouTubers who are switching, let me know what you think. I will try to respond to the comments. I'm so bad at it, but thank you guys for watching. I will see you in my next video that I'm gonna do about the rumors about the new camera coming out, or supposed to be announced in May, the new Lumix camera, cine-focused. Hopefully no overheating issues with that one, if that's true. So okay, next video, I'll see you in the next one. Okay, thanks guys, bye.